Thank you, Bree. Let's go to the phones where we have the director of Rev and Tax standing by. Good morning, Daphne.
Hi, good morning, Sabrina. Hi, good morning, Chris.
Hi.
Morning. Just wanted to get you on to get an update. So we'll just give you the floor. Just go ahead and tell us where we are with the EIPs and all the other types of checks, payments, and services that you guys are offering at Rev and Tax.
Okay, sure. So in the last week, we did do a release on just giving everyone an update on where we are with the EIP payments. And so as of May 28th, we processed and transmitted our most current batch, which was about $4.7 million. So to date, well, after April, of course, we received the approval of our EIP implementation plan, and then that was May 6th when we got monies right after that, right after we received the approval. So we cut checks on May 10, 11, 13, 19, and 28. We cut a total of about, in the month of May, I believe 107 million, and altogether about 117.9 million so far. And of course, the estimate that we have is about 134.8 million. That again, based on the information that we had, and that was what was approved by the IRS and the Treasury. So, you know, we've paid out about 87% of what we had estimated, and we're excited about that. I know I've met people who have received their payments, and you know, again, as we had worked on this program, the most important thing, and we talk about the pillar of the CARES Act that we have been really leaning on, which is the making sure that payments are made out to our people as soon as possible. And so that's what we work to do. And so now, of course, we have our customer center, or call center, that people can call into, and you know, we do have high call volumes. Our team's working to get to calls as quickly as they can, and to get back to taxpayers as well as they email our Guam EIP at revtax.guam.gov email address. And so I just want to thank everybody as well for being patient. We're continuing to work to make payments. I was just talking with our taxpayer services administrator earlier, and so, you know, of course, now we only have probably around $17 million left in terms of, again, what we had estimated we would be paying out. And we're going to be making sure that we make payments regularly. We're targeting weekly, bi-weekly, again, based on whatever it is that we have, and we're going to make sure we get these out to our people. We have, based on the CARES Act, we have all the way up until December 31, 2020 to get payments out for those people who file a return, or for the people who file an EIP NF form. Now, if for anybody who is not able to get the payments before December 31, 2020, they are also going to be able to, if they're eligible, file for it when they do file their 2020 income tax return in 2021. So again, you know, I know there's a lot of questions and concerns that DRT is not paying out EIP anymore. We're continuing to pay out. We just have paid out the bulk of it, as we, you know, had indicated that we wanted to, and so that's really why now you're seeing the payments slow down. And again, that's because, you know, almost 90% of what we had estimated has been paid out already. But we're going to continue to pay those, and we thank our people again for all of their patience, and, you know, we're going to continue to do our best to serve our people. And other news, as you know, we've been open for about the last 2 weeks, and we've been kind of working our lines out here. In the first week, we had GPD and the National Guard with us, and the second week we had just the National Guard, because also GPD, I believe they had other things they had to assist with. So in this last week, the National Guard, that was the last week the National Guard was with us. So our team has been operating, doing cones, and just trying to help with traffic and making sure that, you know, our people as they come in, our customers as they come in, are serviced properly. And so that's happening. We do not open our parking lot until 7 a.m. Just so you know, I know as you come up, is this Route 16, you may see a line of cars in the morning. You know, we had, at the recommendation of GPD and our National Guard, we don't open our parking lot until around 7, and so that way we can make sure that we set up our parking lot properly, and we have, you know, proper flow so that we can make sure people are safe. We also had an incident in this last week where, you know, as an accommodation to our people who come, so that, of course, we want to make sure it's difficult already for people who are standing out in the front of our building because it's hot and it could be rainy. So we had canopies put out. We actually had an incident where a couple of our canopies were were stolen in this last week. So we are continuing to try to make sure that our people are taken care of, and that's very critical. But so we've actually had to take some additional security measures to lock up our parking area and make sure again that we provide some deterrence. Because of course we did borrow canopies from our mayor's offices and our National Guard, and again, we want to make sure we take care of our people. So we're constantly looking at how we can continue to service. Obviously, we're in this new normal, and the idea of making sure that our people, our customers, our people that we're servicing here in our office are taken care of, and that they're not standing out in the rain or standing out where it's really, really hot. We're trying to determine how we are going to move forward, because obviously to have canopies out here for extended period of time is not going to perhaps be feasible. So there are things that we're talking about that, we will not take them down until we're able to get some more kind of permanent type of solution. But in the meantime, so if you notice, I think one of our canopies on the right side, and there was one probably perhaps in the middle, that when we came in one morning, I was asked if I had known that they were going to be taken, and they weren't. I did not know, and we found out later that they actually had been stolen. So, and of course that's theft of government property, and we contacted GPD as soon as we found out that happened. And I thank GPD as well. GPD and our Guam Airport Police are assisting us as well with security up here, although they're not manning our office. Like we have had GPD here with us. They are making sure that they keep us on their, as they do their patrols, that they're making sure that they, come by our office and ensure that we are safe. And they're always, again, very making sure that they're available for us as we need them. So those are kind of the things that have been happening in our office. And, again, we're continuing to try to service our people. Service for our people has been very important. And I know, Chris and Sabrina, a lot of your listeners have had questions. And, again, I recommend that for people who do have questions, they try to contact us, and our email addresses, and also our customer call center. Another piece of, I guess, in relation to the EIP as well, I wanted to make sure, because we had a call with the IRS just recently, a different branch of the IRS, to address some of the phishing scams that people may be come across. And so just as a reminder, to our people, just to be careful, because, Reverend Taxley will not call you. We generally will not call you. So if you have any concerns that you may be called by somebody, or you're receiving an email that is not legitimate, we have our call center numbers. People also have our official email addresses, so they can contact us at our official numbers and email addresses. And just be mindful, that there are a lot of phishing scams, and whenever there's so much money that's involved, that people, there are people who are attempting to defraud others. So just be careful about that. And that was something that was very important that fell out of the conversation. And one last thing, which I think is really important, is for our Social Security and our veterans disability recipients. I know that has been a huge question, and with regards to Social Security and veterans disability, or our VA, there were, I think, in the last couple of weeks, some notices that came out of Social Security, and also I think of the VA, regarding EIP and EIP to Social Security and veterans disability recipients that will be coming out in the month of June. So just to kind of recap what has happened, after, as a result of our discussions with the IRS, and after we had finalized our implementation plan, the IRS and the Treasury, the direction to Rev and Tax was that, Rev and Tax would be paying out all of our Guam residents, including the Social Security and veterans disability recipients, and that continues to stand. In the beginning, though, we continue to ask for our Social Security recipients and our veterans disability recipients, as we had indicated in our earlier releases, to continue to, if they have not already filed a return for, because they either are not required to, because they only receive Social Security, or they don't have enough income to file, that they file an EIPNF. So, if again, we're still continuing to take the position that our Social Security and our veterans disability recipients, again, if they have not already filed a return and have not received their EIP payments, because they have not filed returns, so please do so. And that's the position we have. We've been communicating with the IRS on this issue, and we want to make sure that all of our people get these monies as soon as possible. For those individuals who perhaps have been waiting because, there has been some releases from the Social Security Administration and from also the Veterans Administration. The position that Rev Tax is taking at this time is that in order for you to be able to be in our system, we're highly recommending that, as we had indicated in our earlier release, that you just go ahead and file with us at this time. And if there's any updates, we will definitely let our people know.
Real quickly, Dafne, May 6th, we got the $107 million for the EIP, but the total was $134 million. Did we ever receive the remaining balance of that to pay out EIP?
Well, so we did. So after we received the first monies back in May 6th and then started paying out, because we had paid about, I think, within 2 days, 75, and then so the 10, 11, and 13th, by the time we finished those payments, that was already almost $96 million. And so in that week, or actually maybe toward the end of the week, we had already at Rev Tax begun discussions with the IRS and the Treasury regarding the payment of the additional monies. And so by the end of the following week, the week before the 19th, because we did receive about $24.1 million on May 19th, the week before, we were already communicating actively with them, making sure that we get the additional monies. Up front, we only got about 80% of the estimate, and, we had advised that we believed that it was important that we got the full amount. We haven't received the full amount yet. I believe there's just a couple of $1 million left that we have not received, but we received the majority of the money. So we actually did receive an additional $24.1 million, and that was on May 19 that we got confirmation from DOA that we received those monies.
Okay. And also, I know child support that was withheld. Do you have a total amount on how much in child support was withheld? And did that go to the AG's office? I don't know how much child support was withheld. I suppose that's something we can get information on. But with regards to the way that this happens is, of course, when we process checks, we process them net. And so that's why, like, for example, for an individual who may have, who should receive $1,200, and if they had $100 in child support that they would have received, they would get, they owed, they would have gotten $1,100. So the process that we follow for EIP payments and garnishment for child support is the same process that we normally follow, where we basically at the Rev Tax side just cut the net check amount and then, of course, provide a report on the child support. Child support listing information goes over to DOA, and then that gets transmitted via the usual route. So I don't know how much in child support was withheld, but we make sure that those get done every check run. Last time we spoke, you were talking about how your staff was close to implementing a local version of the IRS's Get My Payment program. Where are we with that?
Okay, so I was hoping that we would actually have released it in the last week, and we're a little bit delayed on it. We're in the final stages of testing it, and so Sabrina, I was testing it last week, and as we were testing in the end of the week, we're coming up with some issues that I wanted to make sure we addressed before we had rolled it out. But we were I'd like to say 98% ready.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're really, really ready. We actually already have the media release ready for it. We're just, again, in the final phases of testing, and there was a few items that we wanted to make sure that we addressed. Again, there's always security issues and those types of things. We want to make sure before we roll anything out that we feel confident and comfortable that when people access, they're really only accessing, the information that they are authorized to access. So that was one of the primary considerations that we had, and which we're working to address, and which I've been talking with my team about. But we're so close. Again, our media release is already ready. It's just making sure that we fine-tune some of it, and only because, again, this is the first time we're rolling out such thing, and it's actually really exciting. Our team is excited, and most especially on our customer service side, and because this will definitely help alleviate some of the questions that we're seeing. But we're so close to releasing it. I can see the finish line, but we're not exactly there.
All right. Well, I know you're busy, so we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Oh, Sabrina and Chris, thank you. And thank you for always being so supportive of us. And thank you to the listeners. And again, if they have questions, you know what? Chris and Sabrina are great at communicating those questions to me. I'm sorry, I'm talking to the listeners.
So please continue to communicate your questions, concerns to, Chris and Sabrina. They communicate them to me, and that way we can make sure that we continue to serve our people, the best that we can. And again, thank you to our people, and thank you to Chris and Sabrina and to your stations for making sure that you get us out. And congratulations on your Edward R. Murrow Award for sure. Because I actually looked it up, and it's great. It's a great honor, and I wanted to just make sure I said congratulations to you on that.
Thank you. Wow,
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Wash
Man,
your
they
hands.
stole the canopy?
Even the canopy you guys will steal? Oh my goodness.
Man. So where are we going? We're going to the Guam Memorial Hospital, hopefully. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that Get My Payment program. It is so cool because you can go onto the IRS website, and she's trying to implement it locally, but you can go onto the IRS website and you can actually check the status of your stimulus check. I have family in Las Vegas, and that's what they did because they were wondering what's up with their check, and all they did was they filled out just a couple of just a little information on the IRS website, and it told them when their check was actually going to be mailed out. And lo and behold, my parents got it, their stimulus check, when the IRS portal said that they were going to receive it. So it's really cool when Rev and Tax finally implements this program, and as Daphne said, they're 98%. She can see the
She
light
can
at the
see
end
the
of the
finish
tunnel.
line.
Yeah.
That's when you got to dig deep and you just,
And she's got the press release ready to go, and so
That's interesting. I guess they didn't go the Department of Labor route where they're just like gunning and put the thing out. They're actually doing. I wanted to say something, but she was in a
they're
hurry.
actually testing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're
Well,
actually
this is not
testing it
as
and making
probably
sure it
intense.
works. You're
Yeah.
right. It's not as in demand as the labor.
Cumbersome.
Right. 841, let's go over to the Guam Memorial Hospital with Administrator Lillian Posadas. Good morning, Lillian. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
Guam.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we just
Good
get
morning.
get right into it. This is something we're talking about with Dr. Maglotnia from Public Health, and asking you about there was a 12-year-old boy who had passed. We had got the tip that it was from COVID. I had asked you. You said it wasn't COVID.